Hi, everybody.
Hey.
Welcome to the White Hatter YouTube News Show. I'm Brandon.
I'm Darren.
And we got an interesting show.
We do.
It's a little different than what we normally talk about because we got to talk about the biggest event that's happened over the last little bit. And that quite simply is Wallstreetbets.
Hey, we forgot to do in the news.
That was intentional.
Why?
Okay. Let's talk about the news, shall we?
In the news.
As we were. We're going to talk about...
I like my in the news.
Yes.
It's a good one.
Wallstreetbets. I mean, not really a safety, privacy topic, but I mean, I have been nonstop consuming news, events, and content about this since it first kind of hit the
It's funny.
airwaves.
I just had a friend of mine. I was talking to a friend who invests, and he said a friend of his actually just invested in the stock again today because it went down, so he bought and he going, oh, but then all of a sudden it went up again. He just made like 45 grand or something like that in less than 10 minutes. Like, it's just unbelievable.
So this is certainly an interesting sequence of events stemming from a particular Reddit group, Wallstreetbets.
Who's Reddit?
Reddit is a social platform designed for some discourse, Q&A, and just information sharing. It's typically more longer form.
It can sometimes get dark, right?
Sometimes it can.
It can get dark, but I mean, this is where it kind of bred. This is where it spawned from. Was this group, and they basically crowdsourced, right?
Yeah, they crowdsourced. They got a bunch of people to invest into GameStop because the price of GameStop, which is a retail store that sells physical games, which people are assuming is a dying business model, given you can download games faster and that kind of stuff.
It's like Blockbuster, right?
Potentially. So what happened? We got some hedge fund people, betting against it.
Those in the establishment, right? And what do?
They basically were betting against it, hoping that if the company were to fail and lose price, they would make money.
Just before you go on, that drives me crazy that there are people out there betting on the fact that a company is going to fail so that they can make money on it. Like, ethically and morally, it just doesn't resonate with me.
Yeah,
right?
and a lot of people are feeling the same way. Yeah. So what a bunch of really interesting people did is they got together and they're like, okay, on the Reddit forum, Wallstreetbets, they were like, hey, let's all invest into GameStop in order to make its price rise. And if we were to do that, these hedge fund people would lose a ton of money because they were betting against it over 130%.
Yes, 135%.
Yeah. First off, people are like, that shouldn't even happen in the first place. But apparently that's a thing. And they're like, you know what? Let's change that.
So again, the establishment, these hedge fund groups, they were dumping just millions and millions and millions of dollars into that stock, hoping that the stock would drop, because as the stock is dropping, they're making more money because they're shorting it, right?
Yeah, I'm trying not to get too technical, but yes, essentially that's what they were doing.
So what this group from Reddit did was, they got together and they crowdsourced, and people are still trying to figure out who they are, right? Like, there's a lot of people are trying to figure, okay, was this big business involved and started this? But overall, it was just the average Joe who's not a part of the establishment, the entire establishment in stocks, right? Those multi-billion-dollar companies. They said, well, why don't we all invest our money? And so what we'll do is we will actually drive the stock up, which now means the hedge funds that put the money in down were losing every time the stock was going up. The hedge funds were losing big dough, but the people who invested were making a ton of dough. In fact, word has it that there were a number of individuals who went in at a very low price. And they're now,
I think it was as low as $5 or something.
Yeah, they're now millionaires as a result of that. But the real controversy, correct me if I'm wrong, Brandon, was that how some of these traders, like Robinhood, right, a trader.
I think it was a brokerage, right?
Yeah, brokerage, right? Like, there's a variety
where you could go invest yourself directly.
Yeah, but what was cool about Robinhood is that you don't have to you can do it yourself. You don't have to hire somebody to do it for you who takes a percentage, right? So now, correct me if I'm wrong, but the whole idea is in the stock market, it's supposed to be free and open, right?
Yeah, they blocked trading, or they restricted trading on those
Which is not their job.
Yeah, well,
it's FTC's job, right?
What they're going to argue, it's their company. It's much like Facebook, right? Facebook, yeah, there's free speech, but if you're going to use Facebook's platform, they can choose to limit you if they choose. That's what they're going to use.
I think the normal person who's not very articulate, specifically in this area, like me, is they did it for one reason. And the reason they did it is because they were losing a ton of dough, and some of their sponsors were losing a ton of dough. Well, so as a result of that, they halted the trading. It was supposed to be open and free. They prevented it from happening.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Yeah, it's
not cool.
It's also interesting. I mean, it could also be because of their business model. People are speculating in terms
What's the business model all about?
Money, yeah, but people are suggesting that if you were using Robinhood, that you were actually paying more anyways for stocks because of how.
But it wasn't just Robinhood; it was many others that did the same thing. Right?
There were other institutions as well who stopped trading on these stocks.
Because the word has it that Robinhood is backed by a fairly big hedge fund group, right? Like, in my opinion, this is a really good example how the little person was able to stick it to the corporate big person, right? Like, I mean, some of these hedge funds are basic, like, how dare you guys do this, right? Mm-hmm. Well, hello, welcome to a free and open market. And they basically were able to human hack it. Yeah. I mean, they didn't hack it from a technical standpoint, right?
The bets against companies were public. They saw the information, they took the information, and they got together and they were like, no, we don't agree with this.
It's going to be interesting how this unfolds, right? Because, maybe there were bigger hedge funds behind this, working behind the scenes, that, inside. Like, we don't know yet, but I mean, it was quite interesting. And, it was interesting because right now, even today, the stock is kind of doing this right now, right? It's not doing this like it did the first day they did it. So it's kind of come down, then goes up, goes down. So, but it is slowly dropping. So, I mean, people got to be careful because I know a lot of people put a lot of money in here.
There will be average people who will lose money in this. So that's going to happen. Period. Because of how popular it is, people may not do their research and they'll just get it on the hype, not realizing the position they find themselves in. So people will.
I think what's going to be interesting on this one though, Brandon, is they did it with this stock. It'll be interesting to see if this group targets another stock.
They have a history of targeting it, but this was the most successful in this group's history. Yeah. So now the Wallstreetbets have become a common name in average. I mean, I was at the grocery store the other day, and I overheard two employees stocking shelves talking about it. Yeah. And it's like this has become public knowledge. Like, this has become a household name now. So
well, a good friend of ours who trades, he's a day trader, right, and that kind of stuff. He says, I'm not even shorting over the next little while. He says it's just too volatile because of what's going on, right? He said, today he said that he heard from one of his people that he turns to for guidance, saying that the industry is looking at maybe implementing other policies and procedures to kind of prevent this from happening again.
Yeah, you know what you do? You stop shorting. Yeah. You stop betting against companies, right. Which in itself people are arguing like you shouldn't be able to do. But right. That is essentially, or if you are going to, it shouldn't be at 130%.
I do think that this was a really good example how the little person stuck it to the big person, right? And I hear people say, well, look at what happened during the financial crisis a couple of years ago. Well, hold on a second here, quite different, right? That crisis was all about the banks and lending institutions doing things they shouldn't have been doing because they saw huge profit short term, right? They overextended themselves and they were bailed out by government, right?
As they shouldn't have been shorting.
Exactly.
These smaller businesses.
This one wasn't about big business and corporate entities. This one was about the little person in most cases, right? Actually making a profit.
Well, it got worse after certain brokerages stopped trading on those particular, and that just made this issue way more predominant.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's interesting. It's interesting to see how this turns out.
The talk was they're going to try and go after silver, but it doesn't look like that's happened.
Well, I mean, yes. I mean, apparently, what's interesting is doing some. I think it was Yahoo Finance that did a report on that, and they found some of the accounts talking about go for silver next were made like 2 days ago.
I actually think that it's kind of like the distraction technique. I think what they've done is they said, we're going after silver, but really their target, they're going to focus on somebody else.
Are you saying people with a lot of money might be putting disinformation out there in order to make people think differently?
Well, I actually think that the little person is putting disinformation out there, focusing on the big person who's going, oh my God, and taking their eye off the ball of the smaller one where they're going to hit that one now. Like, it'll be very interesting to see what happens.
Who knows who's on what side?
I know. It's been quite the ride, though, watching what's happening. But what's even been more fascinating is to watch how corporate, big business, entitled companies are panicking, right? They're panicking because the control that they had was lost in this, and that scared them.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
I believe your friend also said people aren't shorting right now a whole lot.
No, they're not. They're
because
not, right?
if you do, you're probably going to get targeted.
Yeah, it's very interesting, right?
So yeah, that's
and it's still going on today. Like they're still talking about it today. But you know, how can a company like this who sells video games,
like, physical games,
now that you can download these things online, that's why Blockbuster fell off the map, right? Because because you can download all these movies online, right? Like, why go to a store to rent
games, you can download, like a lot of new games now, you can pre-download your game, and you get access at the right time. Where physical games, to go buy the game, plug it in, and then download. So you can get your games faster. Discs are slower to read the game, so downloaded games are usually running faster, more efficiently. So, I mean...
It's interesting. It was interesting. To me, it was very interesting from a human hacking standpoint to see how a group who crowdsourced can do what they did and do it legally, nothing illegal about it, and stick it to the man, right? So anyway.
Oh, you bet they're going to try and say it was illegal market manipulation.
Yeah, whatever. Right? The corporate entitled people.
All right, well, on to the regular kind of stuff we talk about here on the show.
This one's kind of...
safety, security, privacy, but I guess...
This next one you're going to talk about is kind of creepy, actually.
Yeah.
It creeped me out.
Microsoft reveals a patent that allows them to make a chat bot that allows you to talk to dead people. Now...
That's just creepy.
Now, context around this one, essentially, you know, someone's deceased, you upload information about them, maybe pictures and videos, they can replay for you, audio, and you basically recreate a digital copy
it's like a
or
deep
emulation.
Fake. It's like a deep fake, right?
Of this individual, which is really, and people are like, first off, creepy, but second of all, the whole concept of patenting this idea is creepy. And I mean, if you're anyone who watches Black Mirror on Netflix, I know I have everyone that's out there. There's a couple interesting episodes in Black Mirror that kind of talks about, you know, the ethics and ownership.
Yeah, and again, this technology is not necessarily new. I mean, we saw it in Star Wars movies, right, where they brought back Princess Leia, who's actually dead, but they made her look like she was still alive.
Yeah, the actor.
I mean, it's not like they're actually, you know, I think that's a little clickbaity of an ad, right? Microsoft patents reveals chatbot to talk to the dead. You're not actually talking to the dead. You're talking to a VR representation of somebody.
Well, that is an argument in of itself.
Why?
Well, now you get into philosophy, right? You know, in terms of watch some Black Mirror episodes.
Okay,
well, basically,
for some people it may offer some closure, right? It could. Like, are you gonna get one of me when I die?
No.
What?
You're annoying enough alive.
Oh, that hurts. That hurts. Really? What about Mom?
No, I think.
Would you even keep pictures of us?
I think the pictures are fine.
Okay.
I think people who, personally, I think people who are, you know, they're no longer here.
I'm gonna haunt you.
No longer here should just stay no longer here.
It's creepy. I think it's creepy.
It's
interesting to see if they will be able to get a patent.
Well, apparently they have it.
Oh,
so people are like, should this be allowed?
Nah, it's kind of creepy.
You know,
kind of creepy. Interesting, but creepy.
Interesting. Next story.
It's going to be like The Matrix, right? Where you're all plugged in and you think it's actual reality when it's not.
There's an episode on Black Mirror about that.
Oh, God. You and Black Mirror.
You got to watch Black Mirror.
I know. I think
you haven't watched it yet.
No, I haven't. Do you think I'll like it?
Yes.
Okay, I'll watch it.
Do
you think Mom will watch it? I can't watch it without her, right?
She's more of a Luddite in terms of technology. She uses it, but reluctantly.
Hold on, I'm going to text her right now and let her know you just called her a Luddite.
It's true. She uses technology, but more reluctant to use technology.
Yeah.
But it's interesting, you know. Some very interesting questions in that series.
Creepy though.
So next new social network, Pillowfort, is riddled with bugs.
How can you have a Pillowfort? Can you imagine building a Pillowfort?
So apparently, this is
how fortified What will a Pillowfort be?
It's like a social network designed to be like a Tumblr sort of competitor or like a resurgent Tumblr.
Okay, so what's a Tumblr? Like
A
for people who are
Tumblr
watching, some of the boomers may know what it is.
Still exists, but it's an old school social network, long form. So you write like a blog type article to talk and share ideas and that type of thing.
Yeah, it was popular with us boomers when it first came out.
Yeah, so they're trying to like make that kind of social network.
Pillowfort.
They're trying to make it about recurrence, but when the app launched in beta, it was filled with bugs, basic security issues where they had to shut it down and they're redesigning it. So I mean, the reason why I kind of put this in the show notes is just because new technology can be cool, but oftentimes companies are focused on getting out fast, getting out to market rather than the back end support.
I mean, this is one reason, because I'm an Apple fanboy, right? Mm-hmm. When Apple upgrades to a new version, I never upgrade right away. I always give it about 6 months because by that time it always irons out any bugs usually and stuff, right? So, I mean, and same thing here, right? Like,
I mean, there's issues with Apple. We upgrade to a new system and it bricks your whole computer.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I would never buy anything that's called a Pillowfort because how can you build a Pillowfort, right? Like, how secure would that be? Hold on, don't attack me. I'm building a Pillowfort, right? Like, that just doesn't make any sense, right?
So, yeah, now that's just some news in the social media world. I mean, there's new social media apps to be made every day. So, just here to highlight that.
Is Pillowfort popular? I've never really heard of it.
It's brand new.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I guess not anymore because they took it down because they're trying to rebuild and fix
figure.
the issue.
Go figure. Pillowfort. Nice name.
Last.
You can see I have issues with the name Pillowfort.
What? TikTok. What is that? Clock?
Tick-tock on the clock. It's a song, actually. Keisha.
There is a Kesha song.
Kesha. Sorry.
Or
Kesha.
Cat Dollar Sign.
Tick-tock on the clock. Anyways.
Yeah, okay. Which those two have nothing in common.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
No, they don't.
No, what was TikTok called before it was called TikTok?
Musically.
Very good. I just wrote an article on that. It's going to be our new blog.
Oh.
It's going to be our new blog.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Look forward to that.
I'll send it to you today.
All right.
Yeah.
Last article is alleged gaming spyware supply chain issue. So basically, there's a bunch of apps out there that are emulator apps that allow you to emulate.
What's an emulator?
Emulator allows you to kind of simulate an environment. So an Android emulator, you could download on your computer to basically run an Android phone on your computer, which can allow you to play Android-specific games, right? So like, there's games for mobile phones you just can't play on your computer.
So I use it as an online investigator where I can have an Android emulator on my Apple device.
Yes.
So it looks like I'm actually using an Android phone.
Yes.
But it's not.
Yeah, and it's great. When we do tutorials, we sometimes use those as well.
Yeah.
One in particular, Nox Player, seems to have an issue where it's supposedly hypothesized within their supply chain. So probably some black hat hacker figured out there was a flaw in the system in terms of how they get the content to you using the app, where apparently people were being infected with viruses and malware, and it was determined to come from the supply chain of this particular company.
I think it was Edward Snowden, when it first popped a number of years ago, was talking about the fact that a lot of PCs that were coming in the United States, it was his allegations that those in government, specific agencies, were actually infecting a lot of the hardware and software that were going into the devices, right? So it doesn't surprise me because I guess the weakest link is always the human link. But again,
people are assuming it might be a Chinese cyber attack, given the company is China-based. I mean, all allegations, but interesting. Basically, why I put it in the show notes is basically letting you all know that if you're going to download something that's not from a mainstream app store like the Apple Store or Microsoft Store, you want to make sure that you have proper secured antivirus on your computer. Yes, even in 2021, you still need antivirus on your brand new computer, MacBook or PC. Right. And this is a good reason, because if you had that, it could very well prevent this from...
Yeah, too many people on the Mac side of things still think they don't need it because, people who sell Macs say, you don't need an antivirus software, blah, 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 blah. No, Macs are under heavy attack. You need it for Macs. We use Bitdefender, right?
Yeah, that is our go-to of choice.
I had another product, and you said, Dad, trust me, go with Bitdefender. I said, well, the one I have that works really well. And once I put Bitdefender on mine, I went, oh my God, it's picking up some stuff the other stuff didn't do, right? So pretty cool. Hey, can you do me a favor? Can you blow that picture up? I got a question for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. That chair, what do you think about that chair? Kind of looks cool.
Gaming chairs?
Yeah, what do you think?
Gaming chairs are notoriously known to be uncomfortable.
Really?
They're all show.
Oh.
They're all show.
It kind of looks like the chair off of Star Trek.
Yeah,
Captain Kirk's chair,
they're
right?
basically like the chairs that you see in racing cars.
Oh.
Right? Which are themselves meant for safety, not for comfort.
Okay.
So inherently, gaming chairs, If you're a gamer looking for a
Right.
gaming chair, I mean, you're going to be uncomfortable. For show, cool. It's cool. I mean, you're better off getting like an ergonomic chair or a secret lab chair, which is kind of a middle ground between a gaming or racing chair and a comfy chair.
Have you seen the new ones out now with gaming? It's kind of it looks like a half an egg, and you sit in it.
Yeah.
And it kind of moves with you.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it's like it looks. So if you combine that with VR reality, it's like you're actually there doing it.
Yeah, yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It looks like Baby Yoda. You know Baby Yoda,
Yeah.
that thing that Baby Yoda. That's
Yeah.
what it kind of looks like. Have you seen that?
I have seen
Have
them.
you thought about one of those?
I have no space in my place where I live.
That's true.
I have no space.
You have no space, period.
I could maybe put it out here in the corner of the
Oh,
studio.
Yeah, here we go. Here we go.
Go in the studio for work.
Yeah.
I'm going to do a recording.
Yeah. Yeah, Dad, I'm out in the school working. I'm out in the studio working. Yeah, whatever. Right?
All right. So, and that's that.
Yeah, I really like the first topic we were talking about, right?
What?
This one right here.
That one?
Yeah, I think it's just awesome that the little man stuck it to the big man. At least that's what a lot of people are thinking. That's what it looks like.
Well, I mean, to a degree. I mean, the people,
We kind of look like him, eh?
I mean-
although I don't have hair.
I mean, the people who started this, they were better off than most average North Americans because they
Yeah.
had money to even start to invest.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So I mean, certainly they're.
Didn't Elon Musk get involved in this?
yeah. Apparently Elon Musk got in it because apparently one of the hedge funds involved in this that was shorting GameStop.
Yeah.
What apparently, allegedly, one of those organizations was trying to like defeat Tesla. So basically, Elon, being the
Stuck it to him.
disruptor that they are, I was like, you know what? Sure, let's make them lose millions of dollars.
Do you remember that flamethrower that he invented?
Yes.
I mean, it's just
Yes.
the guy
flame.
is like, although he's got some great ideas, right? His space program is unbelievable, right? And isn't he also developing that transportation loop,
Hyperloop?
the Hyperloop?
Yeah.
Isn't that him as well?
Yeah.
I mean, he's pretty smart.
Oh yeah.
Pretty smart.
Yeah, no,
but
so
he can be pretty eccentric as well at the same time.
yeah. Oh, Wall Street losing millions of dollars. He'll get in on that. He was like, there you go.
Stick it to him, right? So
Well, like he needs to, but he was like, hey, let's make these people lose money.
yeah. I thought that was a really good topic to talk about today. I mean, it's still alive today, and
I'm still consuming content around it.
to me, again, I keep getting back to the fact, I wonder what they're going to do next, right? Like, I wonder what they're going to
They've
do
had
next.
history of doing these in the past, but
Yeah.
nowhere near as successful as they are right now.
Too
And
bad,
now everyone
too
knows
bad
about them.
Blockbuster wasn't around, because they probably would have done the same thing to Blockbuster, right? Like, I mean, there's got to be something else that because of technology, it's going
I
to
think it was AMC, the movie theaters they were looking at.
Oh, yeah, right? Because COVID right now. Yeah. And a
Yeah.
lot of people, they're now making a lot of feature movies now available on pay-per-view right on your TV rather than going to movie theaters, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's that. I mean, there is something about a movie theater experience.
Yeah, there is. There
But
is.
at the same time, there's something also beneficial just being in your own couch.
It is. I mean,
pajamas.
but I was going to watch Wonder Woman. It just came out. It's $30.
Right.
Like, now when you think about
yeah, but
it,
going to a movie,
that's
it'd be
right.
the same price.
It will, but you know, there's a different. You kind of nail it. There is kind of a different experience when you go to a movie theater, especially the bigger ones now that have got the comfy seats.
Yeah.
You know, the vibrating seats, the
Yeah,
sound, the
but
screen,
I mean, I prefer.
popcorn.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I kind of prefer movies in my own living room
Oh, whatever.
because you can snack on whatever you want.
That's true.
Pause it.
That's true.
Go to the bathroom.
That's true. I tried to convince Mom, let's watch Wonder Woman. She goes, no, it's $30. I said, but if we were going to the movie theaters to watch it, which we would have, you're going to pay more than that. Because not only are you going to pay the $15 each to get in the movie theater, you're going to have to buy popcorn, which is like way more expensive. I mean,
Make it yourself.
By the end of the time, it's like $50 after you get some food and drinks and watch the movie, right? Well, it's not, anyways, I may be able to convince her. I'll call her a Luddite.
You're definitely not going to watch it.
Well, that's what that's what I'm going to call her a Luddite. Hey, Beth, your son called you a Luddite. It's on the show. I got proof.
I could cut that out.
That's true.
I did the post-production.
That's true. Anyways, on behalf of myself, I'm Darren.
And Brian, thank you all so much for watching us, and we'll see you next week, and we'll see what the stock market says.
Yeah. See you, everybody.
Bye, everybody. See you.